recap all of the latest releases of the week, maybe even give you a sneak peek into what's going on in the coming weeks. Our friend and hero, Chase Buckner, is at an event right now, one of many that we've got lined up for this year. So give him your love. But if you can see me and hear me, drop a comment below where you're coming in from. I'm going to get a few things streaming live into our communities. Thanks to the community team for helping me out on the Facebook side. And I think that we should be good to go. So with that, we'll open up the chat. Looks like we got a few people chiming in. Dave, as ever, is here with us. Nice to see you. We're going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot of stuff to cover this week. All righty, here's our presentation, and we will get started with our first announcement, which is we've got an amazing new event series called HighLevel Live. First one's going to be in India. And as you can see here, we got a little QR code. You can go ahead and scan that, check out all the details. You can get your tickets. I know that they are selling rapidly, but it should be an amazing time. We kind of think about this as like a level up part two, like a smaller version of it. It's still going to be a pretty widely attended event, so be sure to get your tickets. I'm sure there's going to be some amazing people there, and the speaker lineup is looking fire. So with that announcement out of the way, let's get into some releases from the week. SEO got a great update. We can now have multiple business search options for when you're doing local SEO projects or you're trying to run local SEO reports or do optimization there. You can now add not only the business name, but also the Google Place ID or the Google Maps business URL. So exciting times there. If you've been looking for easier ways to get the right business, I think that's the key thing here. You now have some more precise control over that. Next update comes from the affiliate manager. You can now reassign CRM contacts between affiliates. So if you've got a specific CRM contact, now in this case, we're really looking at the contact ID. So sometimes there are multiple contacts that are in there. It happens, we get dupes with the same email address, but we can actually do this based on the ID of that particular contact, and you can move them around between affiliates in the affiliate manager. So nice flexibility there. Great job to the team for getting this pushed out. Next up in conversations, we now have attachment support for group SMS chats. This is like a really big use case, especially in industries like real estate, where you got a bunch of different people that are part of a transaction and you're all trying to communicate on the same page. This allows you to now send out images or attachments to an entire group of people, and it will show up as it would if you were just in a regular group SMS chat on your phone. So love to see this, and more expansions coming there very soon. I know we got a lot of folks that are in those types of spaces where they really need to coordinate with a lot of different people, including custom objects. So that stuff's coming soon too, just to give you a sneak peek. This one, shout out to our account management team. I know this was one of the things that they were kind of trying to chase down. There were certain instances where D&D was getting applied, but previously it just said that it was applied by user. It was disabled by user, enabled by user, even if it was happening in a workflow. We have now resolved that problem, made it really, really clear. So as you can see here, there are examples where we've got the user, where the customer disabled it, but we also now know if it was done by a workflow. So great props to the team, more visibility and easier troubleshooting. If you had some strange things happening with D&D, you can now see exactly what's happening there. Next up, we've got the App Marketplace released an update for their updates. So they now have explicit versioning and what we call in-place update support. So this is going to allow, a lot better control over the versions of the apps that are going out, who has them, when they can get updated. I know there's a lot of auto update controls in there as well. So if you're an app developer, you work in the App Marketplace, go ahead and check out the manage section for versions, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the control that you now have. Moving on to workflows. So if you don't know, we have an autosave feature when you're working in workflows. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. You got control over that. We've now expanded that to be able to work when you're building with the Workflow AI Builder. So you go to build something with the Workflow AI Builder, you tell it exactly what you want. It works with you, it builds the flow. It will now auto save for you if that's what you'd like. You can go ahead and check out the global workflow settings if you want to enable or disable those types of settings. But love to see the autosave. I know that I've been in plenty of situations where autosave would have absolutely been a game changer for me, and now it's available in Workflow AI Builder. Moving on to another workflows update, we've got enhanced opportunity change trigger. So this is very specific to the has changed to. So previously we kind of had like, hey, if it changes at all, here's what to do. You can kind of filter that down, but now we've got a very specific thing where you can target, hey, it's changed to this exact thing, and that's going to help people to really get more efficient workflows where they don't have to rely on tons of different filters. Maybe they can have different triggers for different status changes that would mean different things in their businesses. So, love to see this. We are going to transition over to a couple of updates there. Abu, if you've got a question, you can go ahead and post it in the chat and we'll get the team on it. Greetings from Colorado to you. Who else we have? We've got somebody from Valencia, Spain, I believe. Amazing. All right, back to live action. We have got another awesome update for the Agent Studio. Now, this is actually a pretty big unlock for the Agent Studio. And if you don't know what the Agent Studio is, it's basically a very advanced workflow builder for AI agents, wherein you can have multiple agents. You can call them at different times to do different things. As we all know, agents allow us to get very specialized in the types of AI that we're using, what they're designed to do. And just like in a company, you have different people that are specialized in different things. You can chain them together to get a big project done. It's kind of the same idea with the Agent Studio, is that you can kind of build that out. Now, the Agent Studio is a fairly advanced thing. So you're going to have to wrap your head around a couple of things. But for those of you who are advanced workflow builders, advanced AI workflow builders, you'll definitely appreciate the addition of triggers. Now, these triggers can be invoked by things like tag changes, things that happen in the CRM. And I believe we also have API-based triggers as well, or API calls, I should say. Yes, API driven. Yes, that's correct. So at any rate, you don't have to rely on APIs anymore. You can rely on native things happening within the system, very similar to workflows. So go ahead and check that out. Loving to see all the amazing things that are getting built with the Agent Studio trigger. And don't forget, as we teased last week, and I forget where this is in the process, but we do have a connection that's going to come in to the chat widget. So you can design a very comprehensive, very complex agent flow within the Agent Studio, and then connect that and kind of have the front end of that be the chat widget itself. So that will allow for much more comprehensive and much more fancy, as Chase would say, implementations of AI within the platform. And you don't have to rely on us to build it. You can kind of build your own thing. Moving on, we have got another update for voice AI, the outbound calling consent expansion feature. So if you don't know, we do have the ability to do outbound AI calls. However, there's a lot of compliance things we really want to make sure we get right here, because we can't have a bad reputation. We don't want you to have a bad reputation. Again, as Chase would say, how often are you going to really want to be called by an AI bot? Certainly not in a cold situation. So we want to make sure that we're abiding by all the rules and regulations around this so that we can all use it to our benefit and it doesn't get abused. So with that, we have expansions for this. And essentially what this is doing is allowing us to get consent from forms, surveys, appointment forms, Facebook lead forms, chat widgets, things like that. And then we've also got the scan and fixed consent language. So it'll run an audit. You can review the results of the audit, and it can tell you like where you need to fix things within your consent. And as a corollary to that, we're also doing a very similar thing with A2P. Just saw an update from the team. If you're in the A2P kind of unpleasantness, we'll call it, that's been happening recently with a lot of the crackdowns. there's going to be a pretty amazing tool that is AI powered. They've gotten some really good results from early testing, and they're pushing very hard on that to make sure that you can see what's wrong, understand why things aren't getting approved, and then get them fixed so that we can all move on with our lives. Next up was a really big ask from our team, I know, because we use the media editor a lot. And if you don't know, you can go into media library when you're inserting an image or when you're looking at these media storage in the media library, and you can select an image and you can edit it. And one of the most powerful things you can do is to crop it. It's just like an easy thing, but previously you would have to do that in Canva and then re-import it, and then you got to deal with the duplicates and where did it go. Now you can do it in the actual media storage area itself, but there are a couple little random bugs in there. One, when you would crop something, there'd be like a black background and it wouldn't preserve the transparency of a PNG. So that's been resolved, as well as the compression issue has been resolved too. So images will be crisp, clean. This was kind of a do not announce update, but it was big for me. So I said, what the heck, we're just going to talk about it. Next up, we've got a shout out to our own Haplin, who has been working really hard to get more of these courses, more specialized courses into the HighLevel University. If you're not in the HighLevel University, you don't know what that is, scan this QR code. It'll take you to that URL. And in the Learning tab, we now have a Spanish version social planner course. So this was done by Julio. So shout out to Julio for donating or providing this course for us. We really appreciate that. And it's all in Spanish. So if you don't speak Spanish, it's not going to make sense. If you do, it will. So pretty basic stuff there. Next up, I wanted to give a shout out. We had a number of different back-end performance enhancements, and we always call them enhancements. We always talk about how things are getting better, but we like to visualize it sometimes too. So this is latency, which is essentially how quickly things are working within the chat widget. Don't worry about these different categories. It's not important. The main thing to realize is that in the worst case scenario, we made it 3.2 times faster. And despite what it's called here, the worst case, be the best case, let's say, is 6.2 times faster. So all across the board, things are getting much faster. Everything's happening much more snappy-like, and we love to see that. So shout out to the development team for all the unsung hero work that you do. We really appreciate it. And I know that I've noticed the app has been getting very snappy in many, many ways. Okay, so we've got a list of enhancements here. I'm going to run through a couple of these. SaaS, we had some pretty big upgrades to the billing and subscriptions. This is going to have to do with like upgrading from V1 to V2. Things are going to be very explicit there. We've also converted, I think it was Bulgarian currency is now the euro, so that's been resolved as well. A couple of little things there, but tons happening with the SaaS mode and billing. Support AI data enhancements. This was a do not announce item too, but I decided to kind of mention it because I want everybody to realize all the effort that goes into our own customer support. The support AI bot has gotten amazingly good. So if you haven't used it in a while, maybe you used it like when it first came out and you're like, this thing doesn't really work that well. It's gotten way better. I've seen the data. It's amazing. And we've now made some bigger enhancements to pull a lot of that data over to when we need to create tickets for it, or there's some like larger issue we need to dig into. We're now preserving a lot more of that data, making your experience better as a customer. And I just wanted to shout out the team for making that happen. Calendars, we now have schedules, APIs, and full documentation. I know it's been a big ask from a lot of folks. Where's the documentation? So this is a new standard. We actually have an API Center of Excellence team that works on this stuff, and love to see all the documentation that they've been able to produce there. Workflow AI Assistant is now smarter when it comes to knowledge-based search. And what this really means for you is that it's going to be faster, because if you, like, let's just say you say like hi, or you give it some one word thing, it's not going to search through an entire database. It's going to know when it needs to call in the database and when not to. And so that'll make the responses more natural and more quick. And it's also not going to try to hallucinate some answer when you're just saying, hey, what's up? So with that, got a couple more big ones. GHL MCP platform upgrade. This one, I actually had I had this spreadsheet here, and I don't think I can bring it up right now. But at any rate, this is another do not announce item, but I wanted to highlight it because what this is going to do is it's going to allow a lot more flexibility and a lot less error prone tools getting built with the MCP server. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you know what MCP is, just know that we've got a whole new platform for this. And I hesitate to even call it an upgrade. It's a pretty big deal. And that's going to provide a lot better tooling for you guys, a lot more better testing. And the end result for the customers, they're going to get much, much higher quality connections and results out of HighLevel through the MCP server. And that's going to include things like connecting to OpenAI for ChatGPT, things like that. And you'll be able to do things within the platform without necessarily having to get into it. And so that's kind of the big news there. So shout out to the team. And then we had a bunch of security enhancements that we launched. We don't detail these in too much with too much detail, but just know that the security team is on top of it. Release a ton of new security upgrades to make sure that everything that you're doing is safe and secure and we don't have any problems there. All right, entering labs. We have got a few little items to talk about, and I'll get into a couple of the details here. One is that we've got rich media messaging with media storage and captions. So this is kind of an enhancement to if you're using WhatsApp within HighLevel, if you're using our WhatsApp product to be able to communicate to WhatsApp users, we now have a much better experience when it comes to rich media. So that would be things like files and images and voice notes and things like that. So we now have captions for all that stuff. You can now load it from the media storage center itself, so you don't have to upload it to the conversation from your computer. You can actually centralize your file storage there. And so love to see all the enhancements coming to WhatsApp. And there'll be a couple pretty cool ones here coming up in the next few months as well. Okay, so these next two are specific to something that's already in labs. So this is our new user interface or UI for the contacts and for conversations. So we'll go through contacts first. We made a number of enhancements and we're continuing to receive feedback. So thank you to everybody that's really battle tested this and given us your honest opinion about it, because we know that your customers are giving you the feedback and you're filtering up to us, and that's helping us to make a much better product. And so anyway, we've worked on a lot of the contrast stuff here. We've enlarged some buttons. There's still some work to do, and we admit that. We're working through it on a daily basis. But hopefully you're seeing some good progress in the right direction, where you can get not only the whole backend's been completely redone, so it's super quick and fast, and it's like a brand new car almost. But we also want to make sure that it looks right for you, that it functions in a way that's meaningful and that helps your businesses. So if you've got feedback around that, go into labs, provide feedback to the team, what things you love, what things you don't like, and they will continue to work on that. And then this is a screenshot of a couple of the other UI enhancements. Again, more related to contrast, making sure things kind of pop out and that you understand where things are on the screen. And this will continue to get better as well. All right, and moving into some low-key lit upcoming releases. Shout out to Colorado, I will say, for not really having too much snow. I was talking to a friend of mine and he said they've got 8 inches or something of base, something crazy. California, we have a lot of snow. So if you want to ski, go to California. But Colorado, sorry guys, hopefully you get some snow soon. All right, the first upcoming release is the agent level domains management. Oh man, I'm so excited for this because there's so many things that, hey, I've worked with a bunch of different sub accounts, and I don't want to have to go into each sub account just to see their domains or to manage them or anything else. Because in so many instances, there are businesses that don't even know what DNS is. They don't want to know what DNS is, so they can go ahead and purchase it by themselves, like within their accounts. You can provide them some very simple directions to do that. But maybe they need some help managing that. As an agency, you will soon be able to do that at the agency level without having to switch between like a million different accounts. So love to see that. Very stoked for it. And then keyboard shortcuts coming to the page builder. We got a number of cool things coming to the page builder, both for funnels and websites. Keyboard shortcuts are probably one of my favorite things in the world. I've got like a million of them for my Mac. And they've always helped me work super fast, especially when we're in a pinch and we need to get something done rapidly. So forget that mouse. You can do a lot of cool stuff with keyboard shortcuts, and that'll be coming up very soon as well. I like how the team has laid this out here on the bottom where you can toggle between the different functions that you'd want to do and then go ahead and memorize those keyboard shortcuts. Maybe we should come up with a fun little game where you can play to get even faster at them. And with that, we've got one more ask. As always, support is kicking our butt here. All right. We need to get some more video testimonials of your experience, specific things that you've worked on. It doesn't have to be just a general HighLevel thing. It could be a specific product that's really helped change your business or help change the business of somebody that you work for or work with. So if you've got anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. Just go ahead and hit this either the URL, or you can use the QR code scanner and go right to the video testimonials page. And as a bonus, you'll kind of get a nice experience or a nice little test drive of our video testimonials product, which is under reputation management as well. So with that, I think we're going to end here. Shout out to everybody. Kia ora for sure, Heidi. Let's see who else we got here. Any link regarding the MCP update? Not yet. We'll get those posted into the comments. And it looks like we've got somebody that's saying go Niners. So we got a little bit of a rivalry. There's a lot of Bills fans in my household, so I don't think we care at this point, as long as the Chiefs didn't win. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Alrighty. With that, I'm going to get going. We'll get this all wrapped up, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next week, and hopefully Chase will be with us. Take care, everybody.